We have seen the role that motivation plays when we are talking about the performance of a particular employee or a worker. We have understood that his knowledge and his capability to do or carry out the work is not sufficient or is of no use if he is not motivated to do the work. If a person knows how to do the job and is not motivated to do it, he will not be putting in his best and we will not be getting the desired results. Now, we also saw some characteristics of motivation. We saw that it is an internal feeling. We saw that it deals with human behavior. We saw that it can be different for different people. We have seen that motivation has to be a continuous process. It keeps going. So now, based on these characteristics of motivation, theories have been formed as to what exactly is motivation, or how do we carry out motivation? How do you understand how to give motivation to people? There are 6 different theories that we will be studying in detail. The first is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Herzberg's motivation hygiene theory, McGregor's theory X and theory Y, McClelland's 3-need model, Vroom's valence expectancy, Vroom's valence expectancy theory, Porter and Lawler model of motivation. So these six theories of motivation have been coined based on careful analysis of human behavior and psychology and observing how people behave in different scenarios. Now, each of these theories is based on something that was observed during a certain work time, a certain work period, a certain work presence, how they have behaved in different situations with different clients, with different kinds of workforces. Please note that when you see the word theory, it can be disproved. It is not standard. It is not a standard thing. So it can differ from person to person. It is not necessarily true, but to a large extent it is true because it is something that has been coined from a lot of observation and data. So to begin with, we will start with Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory. So Maslow, what he did was, uska naam kya actually? Abraham Maslow. Okay. So to begin with, we will start with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There was a person named Abraham Maslow, who carefully observed human behavior and coined his hierarchy of needs theory in the year 1943. So this came out after observing the way people behaved on the shop floor. Something that he observed is that whatever needs a human being has can be prioritized. It can be given first preference, second preference, third preference, so it goes in that order. And in general, when a sample number of people are observed, the kind of needs that they have and the priority that these needs have been observed to be the same. So based on this, he made a pyramid or a hierarchical structure. So he started with the base of the pyramid and going up, saying that whatever need is highlighted at the base of the pyramid should be first fulfilled in order to go to the next step. In other words, the hierarchy of needs or the priority of need of the human being reduces as you go up the pyramid. So when you start at the base of the pyramid, he started with basic needs. Every human being has basic needs. When you are born into this world, when you are a child, you have no other need but you need physiological needs. Everybody needs food, clothing, shelter, rest. So this is the most important. Once a person is born into this world, his career doesn't matter. His educational qualification does not matter. It starts first with his most basic need, which is a physiological need. So if you observe a child, when the child is born, what importance is given? Is the child warm? Does the child have enough clothing? Is the child being fed well? Does the child have enough water to drink? Is the child sleeping enough? So this is how it all begins. This is the same for every stage of life. It is not just for childhood. It is not just for when a baby is born or when a person is young. This is something that everyone at every age has to take care of. If I have not eaten, or if I have not had sufficient amount of water, if I have not rested well, that is the first thing that I will take care of. If I don't have a place to stay, that is the first thing we look at. We are not worried about anything else. The first thing that we look at is the most basic needs, which are the physiological needs, and that comes at the most bottom of the pyramid. When a person is well fed and well rested, well clothed and satisfied with that, the next thing comes in. I have a house, I have food, I have shelter, everything, but am I safe? Do I have security? If I am safe, if I am feeling that I am secure, if I have some sort of safety feeling within me, then that need is completely fulfilled. Everybody wants to feel safe. The example that I took of a child feels safe when the parents are around, or only when people who are known to the child, very comfortable with the child, are around. So if there is a stranger, the child will face some sort of stranger anxiety. This is the same with people, again I am saying, at all ages. So how do you apply this? How do you apply this to adults? When we are having food, when we are having shelter, when we are having warmth and clothing, the next thing we want to do is secure all that we have. You want to secure your home, you want to secure the money that you are earning. So the moment I feel good, I feel secure, even when you are traveling. For example, a student is traveling from his home to the college. If there is no security in terms of a transportation facility, and the parents are not very comfortable about the location, or they are not very comfortable about the way in which he is commuting to the college, there is some sort of fear. Based on this fear, the need stops there. This need has to be fulfilled. So that is the next need, safety need. So the safety need and the physiological need is first met, and then we move on to the safety need. Now once we are safe and secure, you are feeling very safe, you are feeling secure, everything is in place, then we go on to find our friends, relatives, we look for affection from people, we look for acceptance. So these are social needs. Social needs are the needs that are fulfilled by the society. So we start with physiological needs, wherein these are the basic needs. Then you go on to feeling safe. When you feel safe, you can make a lot of friends. You can look for affection from friends. You can look for affection and belongingness from relatives, from neighbors, from colleagues. So this is also a very basic need. No man is an island. No human being can live without a friend. No human being can live without talking to anybody at any time. So this is also one of the most important needs. After I have my social needs being met, because when I have a lot of friends, when I have relatives, when I have neighbors, when I have colleagues, when I have some other acquaintances with me, I feel good, I feel safe, I feel motivated, and then what I try to do is, I try to look at my own esteem. Along with your friends, colleagues, neighbors, classmates, everybody, whatever is there, whoever are there, you have to every human being takes care of his own self-respect, his own status, his own prestige in the society. There is nothing such as a person who is a worker, who's a sweeper on the streets, who does not have any self-respect. Every human being has his or her own level of self-respect, and everyone wants and likes to maintain this level of self-respect in all aspects. So once the social needs of friendship, affection, belongingness has been achieved or reached, the next thing that a person looks at is fulfilling his esteem needs, where he will make a lot of friends, he will have a lot of affection from the friends, he will receive a lot of warmth from family and relatives, and once this is done, then he will move on to working with himself. All of these are external factors. Then self-actuation, something that happens within, where he will work on self-development skills. He will try to learn new things. He will try to understand who he is and try to uplift himself. Move away from what he actually is. He will try to develop his skills. He will try to get educated. He will try to get further trained and well learned. So this is what happens right at the top. He will try to develop and fulfill and achieve whatever he wants in life. So according to Maslow, this is a general division of the needs of any human being or worker. So what Maslow wants to say is that there are three basic needs, or these needs are studied under three main headings. The first is, according to Maslow, these needs are studied under three main headings. Beginning with the basic needs, which every human being will try to achieve, that is physiological needs and the safety needs. Further, moving on to the psychological needs being things with the social and esteem needs that are there with the human being. And once the psychological needs are met, then the self-fulfillment needs come into play. So without the basic need, there is no physiological need. So without the basic needs, there is no psychological need, and without the psychological need, nobody goes for the self-fulfillment need. What happens if the basic need is not fulfilled? We don't directly go to the psychological need. If I do not have food to eat and I do not have a safe place to stay, if I don't feel good about myself, if I'm not feeling secure and I'm not feeling safe, you really don't care about who's there as a friend. You really don't want to know who is talking to you, not talking to you, because your basic needs are not met. You're still wandering here, looking for a place to rest, looking for some food to eat. Only after this is fulfilled will you worry about whatever is there in the society. Socially, who do I interact with? What kind of affection do I get? What kind of affection do I want? Am I getting it or not getting it? All this comes only after my basic needs are fulfilled. This is true of every human being in every situation. After my social needs are met, I will also worry about my self-respect, the kind of social circle that I move with, the kind of people I associate myself with, the kind of clubs I am a part of. All of this will come in my self-esteem. These are all psychological in nature because these give us pleasure. These are things which give us some sort of social standing, and when you have a social standing, you feel confident. So that's a very psychological aspect. Only after my psychological needs are met and I am stable psychologically will I try to do something with myself, try to achieve further, try to move further with my development. That is self-fulfillment needs. So this was given by Abraham Maslow in 1943, and this theory, according to him, is a generalized theory. We need to understand that it need not be true for everybody. We move on to the next theory, which is Herzberg's motivation hygiene theory. So we saw that Maslow's theory was a hierarchy of different needs that an individual has. Now here, according to Maslow, whatever needs that a person has can be prioritized and can be put into that hierarchy. But however, if you actually look into the practical side of it, not every human being's needs are the same, and some people's needs overlap. Some people, varying from one individual to another, their priorities might change, their priorities might overlap. Some people might need both safety as well as self-esteem together. You never know how it changes from one human to another. So it cannot be classified as a perfect hierarchy. And some do not have a hierarchy as such. Everything is a muddle. It's a big mix of things. So some people who are, it's not like only if their basic needs have been satisfied will they go to the next step of needs. So here we had, in the year 1959, Frederick Herzberg, in the year 1959, studied or did some sort of an experiment on 200 engineers and accountants who were working in different industries at Pittsburgh in USA. So what he did is, he took a sample size of 200 people, and what he understood is that everyone's needs can be classified into two categories. One category being hygiene factors or dissatisfiers, and the other category, motivators or satisfiers. Now, what is the meaning of this hygiene factors or dissatisfiers? Hygiene means what? Cleanliness. When the place is clean, when there is a presence of hygiene in a particular area, that wards off sickness. It wards off different types of diseases. So, when hygiene is present, you will have no dissatisfaction. You will have no dissatisfaction. So hygiene factors or dissatisfiers are the factors which, if they are present, they avoid dissatisfaction. Note one thing, if they are absent, they do not provide satisfaction, but if they are absent, they make a person to feel dissatisfied. If the place is not clean, a person might feel dissatisfied about that place. A person might not like to be in that environment. But if the place is hygienic, the person, you can't say that the person is satisfied, because levels of hygiene might differ. So, but at least I know that if it is hygienic to a certain level, that if hygiene is present there, I am not dissatisfied. I may not be completely satisfied, but at least I am not dissatisfied. So that difference has to be noted. Opposite of dissatisfaction in this case is not satisfaction. If hygiene is present, I am satisfied. If hygiene is present, I am not dissatisfied, but I am not satisfied as well, because I might have my own level of hygiene. Okay, and another one is the motivators or the satisfiers. Now these also, if they are absent, I am not satisfied. If they are present, I may not be dissatisfied. If at all the motivator is absent, I have no satisfaction. If it is present, I am satisfied. At least I am not dissatisfied. Now these are not concretely opposite to each other, because everyone's levels are very different. So to go through this in detail, if you observe over here, I have divided this into two. There are hygiene factors or dissatisfiers, motivators or satisfiers. So what are these hygiene factors? If a company has no policies in place, if the administration is not good, if it is absent, I will not feel like working. I might have a lot of complications, I might have a lot of confusion related to the job profile, related to the kind of codes and policies that are in place. I might not know what to do or how to carry out things. It might be a little haphazard. That causes a lot of dissatisfaction in me. If these are present, it's not that I am satisfied, but at least I am not dissatisfied. I have some sort of a rule in place. Maybe I am satisfied with the rule or not, but I am not dissatisfied. I am not upset about it, but I am not really satisfied also, but it is there. So the presence of a dissatisfier or the presence of a hygiene factor, makes me to decrease dissatisfaction that I will feel if it is absent. If it is absent, I will have an increased dissatisfaction. If I have a salary, now to make you understand this point better, if a person is starting as a fresher, now you are starting in a job as a fresher, you are getting a salary of say 25,000 rupees. You don't know the level of satisfaction because you are starting as a fresher. 25,000 rupees for you might be big, might be small, whatever it is, but you are getting some sort of salary and you are just not dissatisfied with it. Maybe you are not satisfied either. Maybe you feel you want more, but at least you are not dissatisfied. So that is a hygiene factor. You are getting salary at the end of the month. You are not dissatisfied. But if you don't get a salary at the end of the month, that will reduce your satisfaction or increase your dissatisfaction. If you are having a status, a particular designation, you might be an executive. You are not satisfied with it because satisfaction is not into the question. You have been given a designation as an executive. If you are not having a designation and you are just sitting there without a role, without a designation, without a name, then you are dissatisfied. It doesn't mean that you are satisfied, because your satisfaction level might go up to the range of you wanting to be the CEO. So satisfaction is not what we are talking about in this case, but reducing dissatisfaction. If at all you are not being supervised, you might be dissatisfied because you do not know as to where your job is leading or how much you have to do, or whether you have reached the threshold or whether you have reached and completed the job. But you are not satisfied either. Then policies, administration, security, personal life, there are so many factors. If these are absent, they increase your dissatisfaction. If they are present, they decrease your dissatisfaction. Does not mean that you will be satisfied as to say this is the level, beyond this I am satisfied. So these are the hygiene factors or the dissatisfiers. The other category of needs that people have are the motivators or the satisfiers. Now according to Herzberg, this range or this group of factors that we are talking about are the factors that really account to motivation of a person. That is, if I have a responsibility in an organization, I am motivated to do better. If I have a challenging job given to me, I am motivated to work on it. If I have a recognition in the organization, then I am motivated to move forward. If I have a promotion opportunity and someone tells me that if I put in so much of effort and achieve something like this, I am going to be eligible for a promotion, then I will also get motivated to do better. If I have job content that is very interesting, then I am motivated to do better. If I have an achieving kind of a mindset, then I am motivated to do better. So if you observe here, he has grouped all the needs into two categories, unlike Maslow who did it into 5 different categories. Now here, if we look at it, whatever Maslow said as a hierarchy of 5 steps, Herzberg has put it into 2 steps. According to Maslow, whatever is there in the hierarchy are all the needs that need to be achieved, and every need needs to be met, every need comes in the hierarchy. But Herzberg said that the first 3 basic needs which come under physiological needs, safety needs, and the social needs which come under the Maslow's hierarchy, according to Herzberg, are hygiene factors. It means to say that they are basic factors. They need to be there. If they are not there, I am dissatisfied. But if they are there, it doesn't mean that it has reached my satisfaction level. It can go higher than that. Hygiene factors are factors which, if they are absent, I am going to have increased dissatisfaction. If they are not there, if I do not have physiological needs, I am going to have increased dissatisfaction. If they are present, I am going to have decreased dissatisfaction. If you understand or look at it this way, some people don't have a place to live, but I have a place to live. May not be a big house, but at least I have a basic necessity. I am not dissatisfied. My satisfaction level might be something that I am aiming to achieve. That is different. And then he said that these three come under hygienic factors or dissatisfiers. The social needs, the safety needs, and the physiological needs. And now next thing that Herzberg has said is that the remaining two categories from Maslow's theory, which is the esteem need and the self-actuation need, these two come under the motivation part or the satisfying part. What he is trying to say is, if these factors are present, if I have a very good self-esteem, if I have a very good status, if I have very good prestige in the society and in the organization, I will have increased satisfaction. I will feel satisfied. If it is not there, I am not dissatisfied, but my satisfaction level will decrease. If I have good self-development skills, if I have carried out some good self-fulfillment activities, I will have increased satisfaction. If it is absent, then I will have decreased satisfaction, not dissatisfaction. It prevents satisfaction. So according to Herzberg's theory, if the hygiene factors or the dissatisfiers are absent, it causes increased dissatisfaction. If they are present, it causes decreased dissatisfaction. In either case, here we are talking about dissatisfaction because it has a level, and every level changes from one person to another. Whereas when we are talking about this portion, which is the motivators, here we are having self-esteem needs, self-actuation needs. Why do we talk about satisfaction here and dissatisfaction here? Here you have a limit. An esteem need, that is the need for you to get self-respect, you can earn highest respect in that particular society. It does not go beyond that. So beyond that level, I am satisfied that I have reached where I have reached. I might be satisfied with the kind of dignity and respect that I am earning in my organization, and beyond that there is not much that people can give you. Whereas here, you still would want more. You would want a bigger house, you would want better food, you would want better salary, you would want better security, you would want the company to give you more flexible laws, you would want the administration to be more open to you. You might have different types of safety needs, you might want different kinds of securities, bonds, banks to give you financial security, you might have different other types of social needs, you might want a certain kind of set of friends, you might want a certain kind of affection from people. These vary from one person to another, and there is no such set level as satisfaction for these levels. Whereas here, I have developed my skill to the maximum possible level that I can. Beyond that, there is nothing much that can be done. So we're talking about satisfaction. Now this is Herzberg's motivation hygiene theory. The next theory is McGregor's theory X and theory Y. So this is a theory that works, that you can see even today. So how did Douglas McGregor is the person who came up with it. His name is Douglas McGregor. This came up in the year 1960, and he made a mention of this theory in his book, The Human Side of Enterprise. So this is the book which he authored, and this theory of his theory X and theory Y was made a mention in this book. Okay, so here according to him, there are two theories based on which people work. One is theory X and the other is theory Y. Theory X according to him is a negative theory, and theory Y according to him is a positive theory. So theory X has certain characteristics in contrast to theory Y. Now we will see with a simple example the contrast between these two theories. So now everybody after their education, they go through the first thing that we try to do is write some competitive exams and get into a government job, or we want to get placed. So there are two things, either you work in a public sector, government sector, or a private sector. So here, when we are talking about theory X and theory Y, I will contrast both the theories and we will see which sector fits into what theory. Theory X is a negative theory. So when it is a negative theory, here they believe in one basic thing. Whatever employees are there, or whoever are the employees in the, they believe in one basic thing, that all the employees in the organization need to be coerced. Coerced means C-O-E-R-C-E-D. Coerced in the sense, they need to be pushed, they need to be forced to do something even if they are unwilling. They need to be coerced, they need to be threatened, they need to be punished, or they need to be pushed in order, they need to be forced to do whatever job has to be done. That is theory X. Now where does this apply? Suppose there are illiterate people. There are illiterate people, there are people who are incompetent, there are people who don't have a qualification and they're working somewhere. They need to be pushed to do something. They cannot do it on their own. They don't have self-drive. Their theory X works. Theory X is more like a dictatorship rule. It is like the management will decide things and the subordinates have no say in the decision making. One single management will make all the decisions and the subordinates only have to follow whatever they want, whatever they are instructed to do. Here, theory Y, on the other hand, is different. Theory Y creates opportunities. Theory Y helps and motivates the employees and or the subordinates in a positive way. So if you see the first point, theory X, people in theory X and people in theory Y, what happens? In theory X, people will dislike work and they will avoid it. Wherever possible, they will avoid doing the work. This is theory X. Why is this? Because they are not given any opportunity to have a free mind or a free will. There is a standard procedure, standard operating procedure, and everybody has to carry out the jobs according to that standard operating procedure. Whereas people in theory Y, they like work. Now, if you take for example, government sector, public sector, even certain private sectors will be very rare, but if you see government sector, government jobs, all of these have rules and regulations set by the government. Nobody in the lower hierarchy has any right to change any of these rules. They are set by their timelines, they are set by their job description, they are set by everything, and they cannot change these rules. They have to abide by it whether they like it or not. So here, if you see, people will dislike work and avoid the work whenever possible because they become lethargic. Now if you see in government sectors, you have employees who are illiterate. There is no hard and fast rule that a government sector employee should have a certain degree. That means what I'm trying to say is that every sector has its own opportunities for all kinds of people to work. So illiterate people, people who have not had a certain degree or a kind of formal education also have a job. Now these jobs are fixed by the government. People do not have a chance to change it, change the rules, change the pattern of working. So what happens here is people dislike work and they avoid wherever possible. The next is you will find that people are lazy. People are lazy because there is no new thing that they are going to do. They are not going to use their mind and be innovative in their job and try to do the job very well. If you walk into an office, you know very well as to how well your job will be done. So if it is an organization that is working with theory X, people are lazy, people will only do what they are told because they cannot do anything extra, and maybe that what they are told also they might not complete it or they might not do it in the said way. They are extremely lazy, they are not at all active. They do not accept responsibilities. I will shed away from my responsibility because I am not going to get any incentive. In theory X, they do not believe in any incentives. They do not believe in any promotions because of some job that was done well. They do not believe in any bonuses. It is you do your job and you're getting a set pay of salary. Increments also, you never know how you're going to get it. Promotions, increments, all of these things, you never know how you're going to get it. A person might be having the same kind of salary with very minute increments for years together before he gets something better or substantial. Here, they are not achievement oriented. They are not achievement oriented. They don't have anything to achieve in life. They are not bothered whether they are getting the next kind of degree that they have. I mean, they are just satisfied with whatever they have and they're just sitting at that place. They become stagnant. They do not want to move forward from wherever they are. People who are working under theory X, they don't want to move away from their position because they are just comfortable there. It does not require too much thinking, does not require too much of work. So they are just sitting there. They have learned what they have to do. They don't care about getting the next best degree. They don't care about getting that new kind of certificate in that new computer language that has been released. They don't care about what kind of software has been released in the world. They are not bothered about that. They are not achievement oriented in any way. In this, people are controlled. They are coerced and they are punished or threatened. They are controlled, coerced, punished or threatened depending on what kind of job is being done. But this has to happen in order for the job to be done. The management which follows theory X believes that this should be done in order for the employees to work. They are motivated only for the lower order of needs, that is their social needs, then their physiological needs. So if you take, like I gave you an example of the government sector, you have a lot of advantages in terms of getting a site, in terms of getting a house, medical benefits, safety benefits, job security. These are all the lower order needs. These lower order needs, you will get it. Your basic needs are for sure satisfied. Definitely you're going to get a house to stay, a house to live in. You're definitely going to have very good job security. You're going to have a lot of security in terms of safety, in terms of food and shelter and all of those things. Little maybe, but you're definitely going to get it at the end of the month. So here they have motivation only for the lower order of needs. Then, because of this, people are self-centered. Nobody really wants to go ahead and try to be there for you or be there for a colleague. I will do only my job. I will not want to fill in for somebody. So, in an office, if you see, in a theory X kind of office or a government sector or a public sector, if a person is available for a particular type of job, in the absence of that person, that seat is vacant and the job is undone for the day. Nobody will come and fill in for that person there. Nobody will try to carry out his or her work so that that job is not pending. That is the way theory X kind of organization works. So here you have self-centeredness. They don't care about anybody else. They are very selfish. Why are they selfish or why are they self-centered? Not because of a character they possess, but because of the kind of environment that they are working in. They prefer job security over ambition. Like I said before, they are not achievement oriented. They want to just have a secure job, a place to stay, and they are very comfortable with it. For years on end, decades on end, they will stay in the same kind of job, in the same place and carry out the same kind of job. They don't mind. They are not ambitious enough to challenge themselves and say, I am tired of this particular position and I want to go further. And whatever I need to do in order to gain this kind of a challenge or this ambition, I will carry out. They do not have that kind of a mentality here. They prefer status quo. So what do we mean by this term status quo? Status quo means sitting at a place, being stagnant. Right now, I have reached this standard position and I am very comfortable here. Status quo, I don't want to change anything. I am going to resist change. If you see certain offices like to have handwritten jobs done, or they are even the automated or the part of it which has been converted into soft copies or converted into software, you will hardly see people of elderly age getting into learning those kind of softwares or languages or try to automate what they have to do. They are still in the primitive status quo stage. They resist change and they usually misled because of simplicity. By simplicity, we are not talking about appearance. Because they have not used their brains or their minds have not been exposed to the ways of the world, they remain simpletons. They remain simple. They know only the much that they have seen. It is more like frogs in the well. Because of that, people can misuse them. People can mislead them. They can get into a lot of trouble when it comes to investments, when it comes to taking and making decisions. They can be misled. So this is the kind of people or the mentality or the needs of people, the motivation levels of people who work under theory X. On the contrary to this is theory Y. Theory Y is positive motivation or it is a positive way of thinking. People here like their work and it comes naturally to them. If you see a person who has, for example, if after your engineering, if you get into a sector which you really like, that is say you get into software engineering or you get into automation engineering or design engineering, it's something you like. It is something you like, you are given an opportunity to use your intelligence, you are given an opportunity to explore different fields in your area of interest, you like your work. And your work will come as a natural to you. No one is going to dictate every step that you have to follow. People here are very active, unlike theory X where they are very lazy. They are very active. Everyone is on their toes. Everyone wants to work. Everyone wants to achieve. They accept responsibilities without fear. Here, on the contrary to this, When an opportunity comes your way, if you observe, when you get into your career field, you will see people will run for opportunities that will be given to them. Suppose a manager says, there is this opportunity where you can lead a team to do certain jobs. You will definitely run to grab it without fear, because you want to explore further what you know, and also you want to display your strength. You want to display what you know better. Why do you want to do that? Because you're achievement oriented. When you display what you have got as a talent in you, you will be given further opportunities and you will achieve deadlines, you will achieve a lot of other things, you will achieve many goals, and your achievement oriented spirit increases. People are properly motivated and directed. In contrast to here, where they are controlled, they are coerced, they are punished, or they are threatened. Here, it goes more with motivation and direction. People are motivated for all their needs, not just the basic needs as in here. Even the esteem, even the self-actuation. When you see a person who's working in a maybe a core mechanical company, after a certain while he's sent for a certification course to improve his skills. Maybe if he's in a software field, he is sent for a certification course. Again, improve your skills. You can always go for other you can also go for other contemporary kind of certifications. It is not just related to your work. There are so many opportunities which you have. People here are not self-centered, they are social. So I will be filling in for my colleague who's not there. If I'm in an HR team, and if I'm one of the HRs, and I have another HR with me, and yet another, say we are 3 in the team and one person is not available, we will carry out the job. Nobody sits and waits for that person to come back, generally. And they're very social, so they fill in for each other. They help each other. They are ambitious and they like challenges. They do not shy away from challenges. They are not going to sit at a place and be bothered about their job security. If at all I am sitting in an organization and doing something that I don't like, I feel free to leave. I feel free to leave from there. I don't prefer the job security. This is theory why. Nobody obliges you to stay where you are. It is up to you. And they like change and they try to experiment. They are not sitting at status quo. In the sense, it is my job to collect certain documents and file it. If that is my job, I will do only that. That is status quo. But if I look at it, okay, I can file it in different ways. That is taking up a challenge, trying to do something different in the little that is given to you. Then they are alert. They are not simple. They are alert and they cannot be misled. They are not simple because they have exposure to different kinds of people, different kinds of clients, different kinds of jobs, different kinds of work profiles, different kinds of managers, different kinds of authority. So this makes them very alert because of the exposure that they have. So this contrast between theory X and theory Y, classifying the motivational levels of people or the kind of mentality and needs people have, was given by Douglas McGregor in 1960. So we can see that this was given in his book, The Human Side of Enterprise. So this summarizes McGregor's theory X and theory Y.